Welcome back to Talk Horror to Me, the only horror movie review podcast that obeys all traffic signals. Before we bring on Carly and Ashley today, let's find out what we're looking at today.
McKenna, a young reporter pursuing a story, is dismayed at the number of illegal U-turns occurring on a local flyover road. While pursuing an interview with one of the offenders, she finds herself in the middle of a police case dealing with a series of suicides or possible murders, with her as the main suspect. Working with a sympathetic police captain, McKenna must unravel what is behind the mysterious deaths and how they are all connected to the flyover road. U-Turn is a 2016 Indian Kannada-language supernatural thriller film written, produced, and directed by Pawan Kumar. It stars Shraddha Srinath in the lead role, with Narayan, Dileep and Radhika Chetan in supporting roles. Several remakes have been adapted from the original story.
Thank you, Naomi, my AI guru who did all that text to voice for me because I'm lazy. So welcome back, Carly and Ashley. What's happening?
Oh, not much. Not much. Hello.
Hello. Well, hello. So, Ashley, did you pick this movie?
I did. This was my pick. And I want to know, Chuck, what did you think?
I don't like you anymore. For everybody watching, Ashley told me, hey, this movie is international and it's on Netflix. So I went looking it up. And I ended up watching the 2020 version of the film. And she's like, no, not the 2020 version, the 2016 version. So then I went back and watched that all over again. So now I've watched two versions of the same film. Did I love it? No. Did I hate it? Also no. But yeah, it was, I guess, interesting to see the differences and similarities between the two films I did watch. But it was interesting. I liked the kind of like how they made the films different because they were done by different countries. So I thought that like they were putting their own flavor and flair into what they think supernatural suspense should look like. But overall, it was, other than some couple highlights that we'll talk about later. I definitely wouldn't say, hey, go see this movie. So, but that's just me. So Carly, what did you think?
Well, the storyline, the premise of it was interesting. To me, it was not a horror film, though. It was to me, it was like a murder mystery.
Yeah.
And I really liked the lead actress. She did a fantastic job. I loved her hair too. I have to throw that in. And the mom, when she found out that can I spoil?
Yeah.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
She found out that it was her husband that moved the blocks that caused everything. The way she cried, that got me. It really got me. I was a little bit misty-eyed then.
Oh.
Because she did such a it was so
there
realistic.
Was
her reaction was so realistic. And there was a lot of emotion that was put into it. But like I said, it was not a horror film. And I have to throw this in. Every time they talked, my dog barked.
So your dog's a big fan then? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Your dog gives it 5 paws up.
5 paws. This one, I agree. I was ready for it to be like scary and horror. It was like recommended on my, you need to watch this. And I'm like, okay, it sounds good. It sounds like it'll be scary, but there was no horror aspects to this at all. There was no scary moments. There was just a lot of suspense and thriller. And you kind of get the sense right away that it's like a ghost when it does like the weird camera angles, watching like what's happening. But it wasn't scary. I was really wanting it to be a scary ghost story. Damn it.
Well, it was ghosty. Now, here's my recommendation. Hey, Ashley, why don't you watch the 2020 version?
Because is it scarier?
It has more ghosts in it.
Nice.
For instance, it was done. Hello, it was done by, I think it was either Philippines or something more Asian, and it had a very Ringu Grudge vibe to it. So,
Oh.
so you see the ghost more, and you see the little child in a hallway being creepy. So you get more of like kind of that sense. It kind of gives it a little more gravitas in terms of being creepy. But underneath it all, if you take out that kind of regionalistic versioning of what they wanted, it's the same basic story, same U-turn, same thing happens and who did it and why. But I think the original, the 2016, because it was directed by Pawan, was closer to the reality, because apparently this is all based on real events that happen in the flyovers. And at the end of the film, you see they show people pulling bricks away and the blocks away and like making those illegal U-turns. So it was based on something, in real life in India. That I thought was interesting, and I did like how they did some misdirects. I thought it was I think the love interest of Rahana, and you realize like, no, I just, it was a mechanic and we met on the flyover and we just swapped motorcycles, and so they're trying to get all this footage of like trying to hunt down like who actually did this thing, because people are being killed and we don't know why. And I think the idea was solid, but I think for an American audience, I don't know, maybe I'm just too jaded. I think if this was an American film, it would have taken a whole different lane.
And it would have had a lot more gore.
Yeah.
This to me felt more like a Lifetime version of horror. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't even say that it was like the American based. Like, it's just, this is, if Lifetime tried to make a Halloween movie, this is what they would do.
That sounds about right. But it would have been in a small town in Vermont, where the high-powered female attorney comes back to her hometown, and then meets up with a mechanic. So yeah, you'd have to twist it around a little bit, and he's trying to make his father's garage stay in business, and the local government mayor is trying to kick him. I'm sorry. Are we doing a Lifetime version of this real version? I'm sorry. I got off track.
Meanwhile, Lifetime writers are like, ooh, just going to fade back here. And
yeah, somebody call Pawan. We need the rights to this film.
Right. I love how it was filmed. I think the movie itself was beautiful, like just the entire movie, but there was so many background characters that just ruined it for me. They pulled me right out of like the movie. Like the cops, when they're trying to get to the men who are fighting, which the fight sequence, I'll tell you, it was good. Like, I liked the little dancing that they did back and forth. It was a well shot scene.
Yep. Yeah.
But the freaking cop that's trying to get to him with the keys, and then to just stop and be like, huh.
Yeah. It seemed very, I mean, I wanted to talk about that scene because that actually for me was the highlight of the film, because it was trying to bring all this tension. But yet, half the people are watching the monitors, watching this go down. The other half are like inept in terms of getting this old jail cell open, because it kept them isolated, which is the only reason why I give it a pass, is because, this was in a part of the jail that we don't use because it was condemned, basically. And I wanted to make sure that, but yeah, if it was like so old, why do they have cameras? So again, a lot of it was just like, okay, we tried to make the reason why you can't get the jail cell open, but it was just like a bunch of like, what do we do now? I don't know. What do you do? What do you do?
Originally, I don't know if you guys caught it, but originally, whenever the cop's like, yeah, I should probably get in there and break this fight up, he runs to like the right of the screen and then runs back to the left of the screen because that's where the door is. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it was got very stoogish there for a while. Yeah, these cops were not meant to be on the payroll, I don't think. But but we're talking about the people who are in this thing, and the gloriousness of that. But let's talk about our favorite kills, in any version of the film that we've seen. So Carly, tell us your favorite kill or moment.
Oh, the kill that broke my heart was the little girl. When the motorcycle tipped and the mom is looking and she's frantic and the little girl has gone over the side of the bridge.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No.
Mhm.
Oh, that part was that it got me.
It was sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Miss Ashley.
I think my favorite was the first one that we don't see because it happens off camera. But that dad was just like, he had my blood boiling. And then right, and then the mom and the daughter were getting away, and you see the ghost eyes, basically, like you're seeing it from their perspective. I just wish that they wouldn't have cut the camera away because it made you wonder like what happened to him. But he did.
He did. He did it. We just need like bad police work to like uncover the scene. For me, I'm gonna still go with the scene in the cell because honestly, they did the different views where they're looking at the camera and then like they're being kind of quote unquote possessed one at a time and going after each other. And I think just the brutality of that, and that just speaks about me, I guess, more than anything else, is the brutality of that and like how the blood covered the camera. And like they're looking and all of a sudden he's right there in front and just like banging him off the bars. And then, unfortunately, another faux pas, never take a loaded gun into a jail cell. So again, that entire sequence from beginning to end was really my favorite and really just like, it's like, So while it wasn't emotionally invested like Carly with tears streaming, for me, it was both most brutality on film. So I did appreciate that.
Oh,
I agree. That was a good scene.
That was pretty cool. Murder baby here, but just.
But she's like, but still the emotion of the child.
Yes, that one got me.
Yeah, I know. Hey,
that was my baby.
Sad.
Never lose that. Never lose that, Carly. Don't become jaded like me.
It was a sad moment.
It was. And I had to talk to Carly before air, Ash, because I couldn't remember the ending of the second film, 2016, because I was like, wait, what happened at the end of that film? Because it's all mishmashy together now for me. I might be telling you stories about the other film for all we know.
We'll take it.
Okay, cool. I said they could have used a little bit more of like the supernatural, like watching little kids like skid around in the dark. Very cool to me. Was it 2016 they had the red balloon?
Well, it wasn't red, but
it was yellow in this one.
Was it yellow? Okay.
Yeah.
Should have been red. Should have been red. Maybe I'm thinking of it. But that like spinning around, and I thought that was super interesting. Or they did try to, what they don't typically do in American films, they try to really humanize a lot of these characters, even if they had really truncated screen time. So you didn't be like, oh, here's another one died. Oh, here's a passerby, he died. So they at least gave you a little bit of weight behind the characters, even if they were silly.
Now, I did. I wanted to touch on this. Has nothing to do with the killings, but the interaction between the main character and her love interest, the way that they got together and started talking, I loved it.
Yeah.
It was very rom-com-y.
Yes.
I liked it too.
Yeah, it was good and actually far superior than a 2020 version where they are already dating in 2020, and it was already established. So I loved watching the 2016 where going to his office, asking for the research, and they're both like really awkward with each other, and she slips the phone under the newspaper just for a reason to have him chase after her. So yeah, there was that Bollywood-esque rom-com quality to it, which I thought was very, very sweet. Definitely served the main characters well, and I think it served the main characters even better because toward the end, that love interest becomes part of the situation.
Yes.
So we're like, so I think they built that up so we could have more of a reaction to it later on.
I agree, and I think that a lot of like American-based horror, just in general, could kind of take note of that, because adding adding in dashes of other genres into the horror world just works so well. And that could like really tie into people's emotions, getting attached to certain characters. And so I like whenever they throw different things like that at us. This one was just so drawn out. There was no reason for it to be 2 hours.
But I will say that
I'll
we
say that.
talked about Renfield a week or two ago.
Yeah.
And that also was a great mashup of like 4 different genres that all melded together perfectly. And I think we need more of that. It doesn't have to be all straight blood and gore. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Of course, I did have a lot of blood and gore, and that was fantastic. But
I know.
Renfield did such a good job.
It was.
Such a good job.
What we'll do is we'll come back and watch the 25th anniversary of it. And we'll review it again then with hidden deleted scenes or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe Peter Jackson will make it into a trilogy. I don't know.
I will have to say one takeaway for me with this film and with a lot of films, because like I watched Squid Games, I've watched a lot of different international movies, whether they're dubbed or subtitled. But as annoying as I felt like it would be way back to like watch subtitles, it's really not. And some of these other international films are just being slept on. Not this one, but a lot of other ones.
Yeah, we talked about some bad translating for this film.
Oh, there was some moments.
Yeah, I mean, I have to bring it up. I have to find it. My apologies. I have to find it.
It'll be worth it if it's the one that you were talking about. It's worth it.
So while Rahana, I think is how you say the name, she's like investigating, and she's got she has that vagrant write down license plate numbers for everybody who does, go through the illegal U-turn. So she's there, and she's trying to keep these 2 guys from doing it because she doesn't want them to die, because she knows that everybody does it, they end up getting killed in some way. So he's trying to get them to no, don't do the U-turn. I don't want you to get hurt. And these 2 bros, and I'm going to just call them bros, basically tell her to, F off, go away, why are you bothering me? And so the subtitle said, "Don't talk too much. I will rape you." That's the subtitle I saw with my eyes at the bottom of my screen. And it was there. And then they do an Indian bro high five afterwards, because they were so like kind of proud of their words. Now, the only thing we say, maybe it was the F word. And like the international's like, oh, we know that the F word means I'm going to have sex with you, but since they're mad at her, maybe they mean I'm going to forcibly have sex with you. Therefore, it's rape. I don't know.
Yeah,
but that way I got so taken out, I had to instantly stop it, rewind the whole scene just to write it down correctly, and be like, wow, this is some bro action right here. This is not a hashtag Me Too. I don't think they found out about that yet.
Nope.
Not in 2016, they didn't.
Well, I was, it was one of the reasons I was glad they both died.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I don't want anybody to die, but I wasn't too tore up about it.
And the lawyer was a jerk too, but.
What's that?
The lawyer was a jerk too.
He was. And that's why I liked is that they did archetype these guys in a way that you really didn't care that they died. It was more about her unraveling the mystery. I felt like Scooby-Doo was going to come out any second. But yeah, it's like they really were assholes, and most of them were. So it's just, I got nothing. I really got nothing on this.
You didn't feel bad for any of the people who did get killed, except for the mom and the daughter.
Yes.
Those were the only victims that you were like,
But the ghosts just weren't scary.
No.
They just were not scary.
No, they weren't.
But like that punishment though, punishment to be like left there, like, why can't daddy come with us? Well, that's because your dad is dumb.
He's lazy and can't go the extra mile and go to the end of this road and come back.
Yeah. And we're just going to go live
I just think it's funny.
Without him.
I mean, real quick note. I just want to say, hey, India, you can use like concrete dividers. You don't need to use like,
Cinder
6
block.
by 6 by 12 blocks that are easily manhandled by people.
Yeah, that's so odd to
It
me.
was so odd. It was like, did they run out of concrete?
it's
Or, I mean, any kind of guardrail would have sufficed.
And it's a real thing because they show
It's a
at the
real thing.
end
Yeah.
people doing this U-turn and almost causing accidents. And I'm
Yep.
sure that there were several accidents that they
I mean,
didn't
not
show.
enough to cause ghosts to be created, but I'm sure pretty terrible. But
Right.
speaking of terrible, I want to know how we're going to rate this film because I have thoughts.
Well,
but we're going to start with Carly.
well, I'm going to give it roughly about a 3.5 because it made me teary-eyed.
Okay.
3.5
All right.
horseshoes.
Oh, that's good.
All right. The one that fell off the door?
Mm.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I got to go next because Ashley, it's her film. I didn't get anything really big takeaways for this, but I will give it a lowly 2 India Bro high fives. So it's really more of a low 2 is what I'm going to say to this.
I'm gonna do like kind of a happy medium, a 3, because I think that the main actors did a really, really good job. Their acting was phenomenal. It was the background characters that just kind of killed it for me. And the filming was really beautiful. I enjoyed how they filmed the movie, and I love the homeless man. He's probably my favorite character out of all of it. But I'm gonna give this 3. Please clean your coffee pots. I'd still drink the coffee. I'd still drink it. But when I saw that, I was like, oh my goodness.
It was rough. That was really the horror show of this whole film in reality. The true horror of film. And that was just
going to do that coffee pot like that. I just...
you know what? How many places have you gone where all coffee pots look like that?
Mm.
It ain't the first and it ain't gonna be the last. Just a little vinegar and some water and just...
I love when my coffee tastes like a pickle. And that's my favorite thing.
Oh, no. Oh, trust me. We've done it here at home with the Keurig where it got a little scaled. And unfortunately, it needed one more run through. And so we made a coffee and it had very much a strong vinegar taste. Yeah, no go. No go.
You just feel like you're getting that good old detox in you.
If I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that on purpose, not on accident.
Right. Yeah. No, I've done that so many times. But yeah, this was an interesting movie. It could have been better and it could not have been 2 hours long. That's my takeaway.
Yes. And just for everybody to note, there's a 2018 version, there's a 2016 version, there's a 2020 version, there's a 2023 version, and then another one that was also based on the same one, but with a different name. You have to go on Wiki to find out. I did know, but I've forgotten. So there's like 5 versions of this film within just the last 6 years. So Carly and I were talking. Carly and I were talking about it.
Make it better.
Yeah, it's like apparently U.S. doesn't want to touch this film for a remake or a version, but apparently the rest of the world thinks it's solid enough to have one.
So you all watch all of those. Come back to us and let us know which one was the best.
Yeah, really.
Maybe we'll watch it next year.
Right, when there's 2 more movies already released.
Yeah, there's like 7 more total.
It's like which one is it? The 2023 early version or the 2023 late version?
This is starting to be like Land Before Time.
Oh,
there's so many movies.
But they're so cute. They got baby dinosaurs.
Can we get a prehistoric wrong turn?
Oh my god!
Or U-turn.
Yes. Well, I think wrong turn would even be better. But hey, Ash, you did an awesome job picking a film I didn't like. So I'm going to return the favor. I'm going to return the favor. You're very welcome. I'm going to return the favor. And I tried to find a film last week as we talked off air. It was going to be Boxing Helena, which we could not watch because I can't find it streaming for free anywhere. So I went with one that's on my list of things to watch. And since Nicolas Cage was so delightful in Renfield, I decided to go with Willy's Wonderland with Nicolas Cage, which is kind of I don't know if it's a derivative of Five Nights at Freddy's or something else, but it seems to be akin to that. It is on Hulu, so we'll be able to watch that. I'm very excited. I keep passing it by because I'm like, this is probably going to be dumb because, Nicolas Cage is at his Nicolas Cageiest right now. He's like a caricature of himself. But I'm like, you know what? I've seen it on 3 must-watch lists. So I figured, like you, Ashley, hey, if somebody's telling me to watch it, I probably should give it a go.
Yeah. Listen to your gut.
Gotta listen to your gut. My gut's saying I need potato chips. That's what my gut's saying. Salty snacks.
Yeah.
But Ashley, as we close down this episode, do you have anything else you want to highlight or point out about this film that you loved?
I think we really covered it. I still can't get over that it was such a long movie. I'm going to be hung up on that forever. But all in all, I think it could have been way more creepier.
Yeah.
But there was some creepy parts, I suppose.
I will say, I mean, yes, we could have truncated the whole scooter ride to the bus depot where the mom is trying to get the daughter to marry and then say, hey, maybe the driver is interested in you. And he was like, no, I'm not interested in your daughter. I mean, this is where it actually succeeded for me, where there were those comedic, smart, funny dialogues that just kind of like, oh, am I watching a horror movie or a scary movie? I don't think I am. But it was so light in places that even when the darkness wasn't as dark as what we're used to, it seemed dark for the film itself because it seemed very light and cheery overall. So I think for international markets, maybe for the Indian market, they're used to things being really high, like really rom-com, cheery, happy, bright, light. And then like the creepiness is like half hour creepy, but still effective for the tonal change in the film.
They're just leading them up. They're getting them used to horror. So now we can get some really cool horror movies.
Well, now you're making me think I need to go offline and see what are the scariest Indian-made horror films.
I know, me too, because I'm like, they have to have some like wild like cryptids in their area or something like every other place around the world does. Surely they do too.
You would think so.
Well, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I would. If this was supposed to be this great big thriller, this kind of horror, what would they do if they actually saw one of ours?
That's true.
I mean, throw them. Give me a really scary one. This one's just kind of messed with my head.
Last House on the Left, I think that they would just be like, oh my gosh.
I'm never going out again.
Well, I'm looking, guys. It does 14 best South Indian horror movies to watch.
Okay.
Hindi horror, that may be the key. Hindi horror. I think they have a lot of gods and deities that I think would be very interesting. And they got tons listed. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not looking on screen. I just want to see the 1920 Horrors of the Heart. They got something called Phone Boot, BHOOT. So I'm sure that means phone booth. But yeah, they just looks like they got a lot of things. We just have to look it up. I mean, Haunted Hills, Ghost Stories, Durgamati, all sorts of things. So yeah, they have it, and it is horror. Just maybe what we were being told was horror was not what we expected.
It may not be scary, but they have it.
They have it. We were just led down the wrong path. That's all.
Yeah.
I blame Netflix for saying, hey, you need to watch this film.
They didn't know me at all.
No. And they should. Maybe you gotta like thumbs up those things when you watch them. Give you like a like or a love. You gotta click those things so they really know how to algorithm to.
Maybe. Might be onto something.
All right. So with that, ladies, sending you love as always. For Brooke, who is not here today, she was feeling under the weather, so get well soon to her. Remember, next week we're doing Willy's Wonderland to be seen on Hulu, so follow along with us. And with that, I love you all. I'm going to drop you off the screen. And with that said, thank you again for spending another Sunday night with us. And don't forget to scare you later. Bye.